Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to get started in a few minutes, right at 9, but we're just going to give everyone a chance to join. This is a webinar presented by National Drive Electric Week about how to plan electric vehicle test drives and some safety tips for relating to COVID-19. Once again, thank you to everyone who's joined. We're just waiting a few minutes to get started here, waiting for more people to join. We'll start at about 9:02. Hi, for everyone who's joined today, we're going to get started in about 1 minute, but just a heads up that we do expect this webinar to only be about 40 minutes today, so you'll have 20 minutes of your day back. Also, if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please use the Q&A panel to submit questions, and we'll get to them at the end. All right, so thank you to everyone who's joined us today. This is National Drive Electric Week's webinar on electric vehicle test drives with a few tips on how to do them safely at your in-person event during COVID-19. National Drive Electric Week is a national series of electric vehicle events. This happens annually every September, and each event is run locally by volunteers with events normally in all 50 states. This year, because of the pandemic, we are offering both online and in-person events. So we hope you'll host and attend events this year. And feel free to visit our website, driveelectricweek.com, for more information. All right. So today I'll be presenting. My name is Kylie Morgan. I work with Plug in America. Plug in America is one of 3 national organizers for National Drive Electric Week. Sierra Club and Electric Auto Association also help organize the campaign at the national level. We work with lots of local volunteers who make the campaign possible, so many thanks to you guys, many of you who I'm sure are on the call right now. Also, we're very happy to have Simon with us today. He is with Nissan North America, and he's going to be doing most of the presenting about EV test drive tips today. And Simon, do you want to do a short introduction?
Sure, thanks, Kylie. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining. I appreciate the time today. My name is Simon Kinderknecht. I'm with Nissan's EV marketing and sales strategy team. And so I'm happy to be here today just to talk to a lot of you about how to effectively hold these in-person ride-in drives. I know that this year is different and many events have switched to online only. And many of you have experienced doing this with previous events, but we thought with the circumstances of this year, it would be helpful to give you some tips on best practices to ensure everyone's safety for this year's in-person event.
Awesome, thank you so much. All right, before we get started, we also want to thank our sponsors. Our platinum level sponsor, Nissan Leaf, is the exclusive automotive sponsor, and they've sponsored since 2012, so a huge thank you to their support. You know, every year they send out event kits to our organizers, you know, and same with this year, they'll be sending online and in-person event kits. Also, a thank you to our silver level sponsor, Clipper Creek, who I'm sure everyone knows for the many charging station drawings we do every year. All right, Simon, I'll pass it off to you.
All right, great. Thanks, Kylie. So for this year's in-person events, you may be wondering, for those of you that are new to National Drive Electric Week, you know, how can I get some vehicles at our events? So the first thing would be to just reach out to the local EV owners. And, you know, for this year with COVID-19, you know, we're at a minimum hoping that we can have EV owners stage their vehicles for attendees to walk around and get a look at for the event. And then if you are planning or would like to have some type of ride and drive at your event this year, you know, we would recommend looking to the local dealers that are able to support. This is kind of a win-win situation for attendees at events and also for the dealers to be able to share the products of their respective OEMs with attendees at the event. So, you know, we're happy to help you and give other recommendations on how to get in contact with them. But, you know, look to your local dealers for actual vehicles and participation in the ride and drive. So with that, there's always required paperwork. So there will be test drive waivers. Likely each OEM will have their own liability waivers that will need to be signed. And then with that, you know, it's good to always make sure attendees are aware that in order to do so, they'll require a valid driver's license, and there will be more than likely a minimum age requirement. Then for insurance liability certificates, you know, it really does depend on where the event's being held, but please be sure to find out what specific insurance requirements are necessary for your location. So 4 quick tips for your successful test drives. These are some of the kind of best practices that we've come up with after hosting many events. And this isn't all inclusive, so there may be you know, other suggestions from the group. I'll leave you to make those from your own experiences. But number 1 would just be to limit the distance of the test drive to 1 to 2 miles. You know, we want to make sure that folks, you know, driving EVs have a chance to experience the EV in a multitude of driving scenarios, but at the same time, we want to make sure that there's an opportunity for everyone and that it doesn't too long. So 1 to 2 miles we found is pretty good range for test drive. Leading to suggestion number 2, try to map out the route to allow the drivers to experience a multitude of different driving scenarios, whether that's accelerating on an on-ramp and a mixture of some in-city driving. We want to be able to showcase where the EVs really thrive and the excitement that EVs bring. Tip number 3 would be to plan routes primarily with right turns only. This is a little bit safer than having to cross traffic, and it also keeps from getting stuck at any intersections for an extended period of time. And number 4, it's always helpful to have the map so that you can review ahead of time with the drivers. This year will be a little bit unique because we are recommending for any ride-in drives that they be done solo. So with that, there won't be anyone in the passenger seat outside of the member's household to navigate. So it's very important that they have a clear understanding of the route before kicking off. So those are just 4 quick tips that we have for you for this year. So day of the event for the on-site test drives. For your sign-up booth, our tip is to have it at a central location where you can have volunteers checking for valid driver's license, insurance, and signing any necessary waivers. And also, if you've got multiple vehicles available to drive, list all of those so participants can sign up for the vehicles that they'd like to drive. The staging area for the vehicles is very important. There will be a lot of foot traffic. I'm sure these events vary in size, but ensuring that the vehicles are staged and in place that they can easily get out to the route and back without interfering with any foot traffic. And then as far as volunteers this year, we recommend having 1 to 2 people to check IDs and waivers, 1 person to help expedite the line, and this year specifically to have someone designated to assist in disinfecting vehicles between each driver. So some guidelines for the test drives. Again, as I mentioned, we are recommending that the test drives be conducted alone to ensure everyone's safety. If there are multiple members of the same household, it's okay to send them out together, but we are not recommending that we have folks ride along. As I mentioned, also review the drive route with each driver before they depart to make sure that they have a clear understanding of where they're turning and where they're going. Steering wheel, shifter, and door handles should be disinfected between each drive. Again, I want to emphasize that the safety is number 1 importance this year, and we want to make sure that everybody has a good time and is safe. Number 4 is depending on the range of the vehicles that you've got there and how far your drive route is. It's always a good thing to check the state of battery periodically to make sure that you don't send somebody out on a test drive that's not able to make it back to the starting point. And 5, everyone organizing events would be responsible for any sort of local permits for any necessary road closures or anything else that may be required by local agencies while conducting these test drives. So things to remember before you send somebody out, maybe their first time driving an electric vehicle. And so as EV advocates and many knowledgeable EV owners, just some tips and things to point out for them to look for. Obviously, quietness being one of them, lack of vibration, that instant torque that you get from driving with the electric vehicle, and responsiveness of the throttle, and then also regenerative braking. So many EVs have multiple settings that you can boost the level of regenerative braking. So that may be something to go over with them before departing. And lastly, always don't forget to tell these attendees why you love your EVs. So some additional.
All right,
oh, go ahead, Kylie. I'm sorry.
Thanks. No worries. Well, thank you so much, Simon. So yeah, I wanted to go over this slide because this outlines the safety precautions that National Drive Electric Week will be making available soon to all of our event organizers. This is just for test drives, but the safety guidelines we'll issue soon will cover other aspects of the event as well. So these recommendations are based, on recommendations from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. What they advise, based on that, we advise you come prepared to wipe down test drive vehicles after every drive. Front seats, steering wheel, touch panels and buttons, inside and outside door handles. Really try to go through your head of what would people touch while they're getting in the vehicle, leaving the vehicle, doing the test drive, things like that. You also want to provide an alcohol-based hand sanitizer that contains at least 60% alcohol to every driver. I'd recommend doing that before and after, just to be extra safe. Also, the CDC does offer specific guidance for disinfecting vehicles. Again, when we issue this official guidance via the NDO website, we'll link to their page for more information. But just some tips from that is when cleaning and disinfecting, they advise individuals should wear disposable gloves. You should also keep the doors and windows open while cleaning the vehicle. And if people are comfortable, you might advise that they also, keep the windows open while they're doing their test drive. But again, when we release the actual guidelines, we'll link to the CDC website, and on that website, they have a list of different cleaning supplies you can use. They really go into as much detail as you'll need to prepare. Also, masks are required at all times at the event and during the test drive. And as Simon mentioned, only people within the same household should be in a test drive vehicle at the same time. All right. So now we're going to go, answer any questions that we've received. But you can also feel free to email us after this event if you have any questions at all. And of course, if there's any extra ways we can help you with online events, we always want to hear about it. So please let us know. All right, so I think this is a question for you, Simon. Will Nissan be reaching out to Leaf owners about NDO as they have done in past years? And there's also, will the company be sending supporting material to dealerships? Yeah, so I'll leave that to you, Simon.
So thanks for the question, Charles. So we'll definitely be promoting the events that are occurring as we get a little bit closer to that time, and reaching out to the dealers. I know in the past the dealers have been heavily involved with some of the local events, and this year it's a little bit different. I think a lot of the in-person events have either shrunk in size or they aren't necessarily taking place as they have in the same capacity in the past. But we definitely can help in priming the pumps and reaching out to the dealers. They're for those dealers that have participated in the past, they're aware of the available opportunities and how to get involved. So we'll do what we can to help to push that and get some more support for you guys.
Awesome, thank you so much. Also, Charles, yes, do you have any tips for quickly and inexpensively disinfecting the car between rides? In this case, because of the severity and the impact of COVID-19, I would recommend spending a significant amount of time disinfecting the vehicle. As far as inexpensively, you can check the CDC website. They have a list of approved cleaners, and you can choose the one that works with your budget. But again, I think if you had to choose between offering less test drives, but being able to clean the vehicle more thoroughly between each test drive, that would be the way to go this year. So we have a question. You said only solo drives. Does that mean owner and customer, or only customer? So when we say solo drives, we do mean only the customer. or the customer and someone else within their household, but ideally just one person at a time. And, the reason for this is, again, we want to help prevent the spread of COVID-19, and the best way to do that is to just keep people 6 feet apart, and keep that safe distance. Also, this isn't new. Some dealerships have already started providing these test drives where they give the customer the keys and they go on their test drive. So it's not unheard of, and some dealerships at least should be familiar with this method. Okay, so I think that's all the questions we have. Oh, one more. So we have another question. Anybody doing a live and online event overlapping each other with a simultaneous broadcast? There is one event that's doing that. I can't recall which city it's in right now, but that is an option. So if you want to do that, the benefit to that is if your live event has to be canceled because of a surge in COVID-19 infections, then you can always resort back to your online event. Also, if you're planning on doing a safe, social distance EV parade, you might consider having the different people live stream as they drive and talk about the driving experience. So that's an idea for a simultaneous broadcast. And Simon, while we're waiting for possibly a few other questions, do you know, is there anything, tips that Nissan has given to dealerships about, solo test drives or anything that you've seen with local dealers?
Yeah, so I haven't seen anything specifically. I think the dealers are kind of handling them, on their own kind of individual basis and following their respective state guidelines. So I don't have any, but that's something I can look at providing for you guys.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Simon. Also, today's webinar will be recorded, and the slides and recording will be sent via email as well as available on the NDO website. We have another question. How many online versus in-person events have registered so far? So we have about 115 in-person events. Although given the pandemic, we're still not sure how many of those will occur, but it's looking like a good number of in-person events will actually take place. And then we have about 55 online events, but that number is rising. Also, just a tip that the NDO website was updated recently, so if you go to the events tab on the website, people can now search within their zip code, and they'll see all events online and in person within 200 miles of their location information. So the website does differentiate between the online and in-person events. You can also choose topics for your online event, and that will appear in the search results so people know what topics your event will cover. Also, Charles, I do see your question about the cleaning supplies. So unfortunately, the event kits are already finalized this year, and they'll be sending some, various swag that you can provide to attendees, but no cleaning supplies this year. However, they will be, well, I guess I should say, they will be sending hand sanitizer. So that will be provided in your event kit.
Yeah, Kyla, just on that, we did try to tailor the kits a little bit differently this year, obviously for the pandemic circumstances. So we did include face masks and hand sanitizer, but as far as disinfectants for the vehicles, unfortunately we didn't include that in the kits this year.
Awesome. Okay, and then, Charles, thank you for the reminder that Plug-in America is currently offering funding for online events. Well, we have limited funding available from our sponsor, Electrify America. So you can apply to have your online event funded as long as it's occurring during National Drive Electric Week. And the deadline to apply is September 4th. Feel free to email me if you haven't received the application via email already. And then another question, do you have a sense for what proportion of online events would be held via Zoom versus other platforms? I don't have a sense of the proportion of what's being used, but if you're interested in other platforms besides Zoom, you can check the ND resources page. We have a section for online events, and we tried to list a good number of platforms, each with their own strength, so you can look at that. Oh, and another question about the online registration link. So if you're trying to register an online event, it's the same process as registering an in-person event. You would click the volunteer tab on the website, and once you click that tab, it'll prompt you to input your name and email. Then you'll input your location information, and finally scroll down to the bottom of the search results that appear, and you'll see a button to register a new event. And then when you're registering that new event, you can just choose in-person or online. And then a question for you, Simon. Will Nissan be doing any media notices to the general public or at the dealerships for NDU?
Thanks, Kylie. So we don't have anything right now planned other than some social media and online support that would more than likely be promoting the national online webinars. But that's something that we can definitely explore and working with the local dealers to support with.
Awesome, thanks. Also, another question, will you have all type and brands on the event? So most events will be sort of a local electric vehicle 101 presentation, and they will cover all the different types of electric vehicles out there, but some will be more specific. For example, Plug-in America is hosting one called New EVs First Look, and that will specifically feature upcoming, new EVs, such as the Ford Mustang Mach-E. And then we're hoping to get a couple other vehicles on there. And basically the engineers or an expert will be there to answer questions about the new vehicle. But again, the NDU campaign is brand neutral. We want to support all electric and plug-in hybrids, all the different options for people, and most events will cover all of them. Well, I hope this isn't a hard one, Simon, but a question from Karen. Will we see an increase in Nissan Leaf ads, hopefully in the future?
Yeah, thanks, Karen. So as many of you are probably aware, we are bringing a new electric vehicle to the market in the near future. So I think what you'll be seeing more is a shift into more general Nissan electric vehicles. So we'll continue to support Leaf as its own product, but we're really excited to share some news and continue to keep everyone updated on the new Aria.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, one more. So a question, I'm planning a drive-in EV concert with social distancing by the use of water pistols. I don't have any additional advice on that. That is a very unique, it sounds like a very fun event. I guess, maybe search the CDC website, see if they have any recommendations on, water. I'm not sure if they have some kind of hotline, but maybe that's worth calling them and asking about that. Off the top of my head, my only concern would be the water, hitting other people. Depending on how the water gets into the water pistol, there may be some risk of infection if it hits other people. So maybe advised to only use the water pistols on people within the same household. All right, so I think we're going to end it today. Please definitely feel free to email us if you have any other questions. Thank you so much for joining us and for supporting NDO this year. It really means a lot that with everything going on, all of our volunteers, or a lot of volunteers, are still hosting events and pivoting now to learn a new skill with online events. So we cannot thank you enough. We're here to help you in any way we can. Thank you so much to Simon, especially for joining us today as well.
Thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much for your time.